Okay, hello friends. About a week ago, I asked some of my friends what they would think. About 3 weeks ago, I had an accident. I ripped the right quadricep tendon. We'll get into that in a second. And anybody knows me knows that I'm the type of guy who's gonna have hardships, but I'm gonna come back fighting, as I hope you are. And I asked if it would be beneficial to anybody if I kind of like documented the comeback. So to do that, we need to also have the background. So let's get a little background. Today is September 7th. It's Monday. 3 weeks ago, on August 13th, I was walking down some steps. I'm smiling because I felt at the time so stupid, and looking back, I feel really stupid. Simply walking down a flight of steps, like maybe 7 steps. I mean, it was that simple. And the last step, I just wasn't watching. I was carrying a bunch of stuff and twisted my leg. I turned to speak with someone and just twisted my leg. And the next thing I knew, just to give the background how this thing feels, I'm laying on the ground. I'm clutching my right knee to my chest, and I can feel through my pants that my kneecap is not where it's ever been before. I mean, it's like off to the side. The pain was excruciating going down, but as I lay there holding my knee close to my chest, there wasn't a heck of a lot of pain. And then at that moment, I lay there, and there weren't a lot of people, maybe 1 or 2 people around. It was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I started laughing to myself, saying, that was ridiculous. You just blew something serious in your leg. Walking down a flight of stairs. Okay. Anyhow, made a few phone calls, the people standing around, an ambulance took me to a local hospital. 2 days later, on August 15th, Saturday night, they wheeled me into the operating room. They did all the tests. And when you rip a tendon in the knee, it's really what it is. It's the tendon which connects the 4 major muscles in the front of the thigh to the kneecap. When that happens, you lose your knee. Well, if it's a complete tear, so then there's no more. You can't use your bottom. You can't flex your knee. It's just that it is. And I had a total tear. That's like the clue. That's like the hint, the key to this whole business. So they did all the tests, and the main test really is clinical. It's not really the filming or the X-rays and that stuff. It's really clinical. 2 days later, they wheeled me into the operating room, and it was really painful. The couple days till then were really uncomfortable. Just to put, because the main reason that I'm documenting this is not really because of to show the the anguish, but we need that for the background to see where we're going to recuperate from and re-strengthen from. When you have a complete tear of that tendon, it's frightening. It's the first time. I mean, I've been through a lot in my life. I worked in the prisons for 13 years with the worst of the worst. I mean, maximum security prisons. I was in the Israeli army. So, I mean, like, during the Iraq war, we saw stuff. But this was more personal because this was like, wait a minute, Fish, you can't move your knee. You literally can't. It's not like you pulled a muscle. This is not like a training thing. If you have a complete rip, you literally can't. That's frightening. That was like, the word is, there's another word. It's you lose control. When you lose that kind of control, that was freakish. Then, so I spent a couple of days in the hospital, and then they wheeled me into the operating room, and they give you some explanations. And that's really when you lose control of your life, because now one thing I can say is that I personally don't. I'm not the greatest person when it comes to going to doctors. I don't like when people touch my body. I don't trust people with my body. I like to take care of my own fitness. I like to take care of my own body. I don't like when people interrupt with my body. That's just me. But these doctors, a couple of Israeli doctors, orthopedic guys, I really like these guys, and I felt confident at the time. Like, wow, these guys, they speak straight. They seem like, they didn't have any doubts. They know exactly what they're doing. So I wasn't afraid for the operation. That wasn't the thing. The thing is, it's not fearful going into an operation. It's the first operation I've ever had. I've had my nose broken in karate fights 3 times, but you keep fighting. I mean, the medic comes, he puts it back in place, or you put it back in place yourself. I've had that happen. I've broken fingers in fights, but this was different. This is like you lose a limb, a use of a limb. Now I don't want to belittle, God forbid, anyone who's had any other medical issues or health issues. I mean, this is not the worst thing that can happen to a human being. Okay? That's for sure. I don't want to, that's not my point. But for me, it was really traumatic. And then going into the operating room, it's like, wow, they're going to put me under with anesthesia. Then they're going to do a lot of intimate things to my leg. At that point, you really you have no control, really. I mean, you don't have any control. So I laid there for about 20 minutes while they were preparing the operating room, and I was by myself in the, I guess they call it the room in front of the operating room. And I had time, and what I do in these situations is, my favorite book in the world is the book of Tanya. And I just repeated verbatim the first chapter of Tanya like 3 or 4 times, just word for word, as a calming issue, as a calming method. And then I knew I had a few more minutes, and then I repeated one of my private conversations with the Lubavitcher Rebbe, my Rebbe, in his office. And then I just, in my own mind, I said, Rebbe, please take care of me. This is something I'm not prepared for. I mean, I'm a karate black belt, but this is like beyond me. Please take care of me. And in my mind, I just became calm at that moment. Bingo. What's that? You can't hear that. At that moment, everything came calm. My whole body became calm. I said, okay, it's going to be okay. The Rebbe will take care of me. They wheeled me in, and I remember, this is like one of those cultural things. I remember, this was ridiculous. Before I went under in the anesthesia, I remember saying to the doctor, this is so corny, doctor, will I be able to play the piano after the operation? And the doctor said to me, yeah, you'll be able to play the piano after the operation. And before I went under, I remember saying, that's funny, because I couldn't play it. I've never played it before in my life. And, in an American culture, that's like a typical joke. And like the doctor, I remember seeing his face before I fell asleep, and he got it. So I was happy that before the operation, I got the doctor to smile. And then, listen, I came up with this. I personally came up with the saying, life. I mean, on the bottom of my emails, life without humor is not funny. So anyhow, I came to at some time after the operation, and they wheel you back to your room, and my wife was there, my beloved wife is there, and my son was there. And it takes you a little bit to recuperate from the operation itself. And I lay in my bed. It's very uncomfortable. They put these not stitches, but these clips in your leg to keep the operation together. And then the next horrible thing was, but that was really, really a huge level of self-awareness. Those two things: number one, losing the use of the leg, and number two, going to the operation. Those two experiences were traumatic. They really were. It's hard to describe. So anyhow, the next day, they have this ridiculous philosophy. I don't know. I mean, it's stupid. It's horrible. It's ridiculous. It's wrong. The philosophy in medicine is the next day, it was Sunday, the physical therapist comes in, and his mission is to get you to walk. The first day. Some idiot somewhere in Switzerland, I don't want to, some doctor came up with a philosophy that the day after your operation, they've got to get you going. No. It's ridiculous. It's painful. It's horrifying. And they should stop it immediately. After your operation, you should rest. That's not the time when you start. No, it doesn't work like that. No. In my non-medical opinion, that's ridiculous. It was horrible. It was pain for nothing. My God, that's my opinion. My personal opinion, I would not do that. Let the guy rest for a day. His muscles are not going to atrophy. Nothing's going to happen. That was horrible. So anyhow, I laid in the hospital for a couple of days. They want to get you out of the hospital like 2 days later. Like the next day after the operation, they want you out. I said, no, I'm not going anywhere. What are you going to stick me in the back seat of a car with this? Are you crazy? That's what they said. Yeah, people sit in the back seat. I said, people can sit wherever they want. They can sit on a camel's back. I'm not going in the back seat of a car. No way. They're not made for that. The next day after the operation, I don't know, that this is the philosophy, the theory. So I said, no, I'm taking my time. I spoke to the doctor. This is ridiculous. I'm not a coward, but I need to chill, man. Let me just lay here for a couple of days. So they let me lay there for a couple of days, and then we still had to get me home. And then I said to my wife, you know what? There's a time to be courageous and fearless, and there's a time to be practical. I said, get me an ambulance. I'll pay for it. Let them take me from this bed on a stretcher to my house. And by that time, they brought a medical bed into my living room. And that was the wisest thing, is pay a couple $100. What did they expect? It's so, it's really painful. What am I supposed to skimmy into the back seat of a car with my painful operated leg with the sutures and the. I don't know, man. So and I was happy. I spent that money. I got home. I was there for a couple of days. 10 days later, and you're supposed to walk. By that time, I was able to walk. So the operation was August 15th. 17th, 18th of August, I came home. Slowly I walked, but with the sutures, it's really painful. It's not painful because of the operation. It's painful because you've got like 20, metal or plastic sutures in your leg. It's the blood. It's really uncomfortable. About 10 days later, I went to my first checkup. They took the sutures out, and that was an immediate relief. It was immediate relief. And now it's September 7th, and you go through little stages of getting better. Now I'm going up the stairs by myself, getting out of bed by myself, getting into my bed. Well, okay, we'll leave that for a second. That's part of the recuperation. So now it's September 7th, and that's about all I wanted to say about the background of like how horrible it was, okay? Now, what I mean by that is that my purpose in documenting this and speaking right now is not about me. I mean, it's about me, but it's not about me because people who know me, the fish, I don't like pity. I don't like sympathy. And I don't like when people clap their hands and go, yeah, I don't like that. I'm a very independent, like I've got that karate thing. But the thing is that, you know, when I started writing the story and everything, and, you know, it does feel good when people, you know, write back to you, call you, and give you good wishes. And I mean, really, it does. And I'm not that type of person. I don't need that. Number one. Number two is that it's going to take a couple months. I'm going to come back stronger physically and spiritually and intellectually. I'm going to come back stronger. That's what I really want to document. We'll leave this little video, guess, and it's like a 10-minute one. Wow, it's 15 minutes. Wow. Man, you talk too much. My God, why don't you shut up, fish? So what I wanted to say is that till now what I learned is that the lower you go, you're going to hit some awareness in life. It's not about falling. We're all going to fall. That's not a failure. But you got to get up. If you don't get up, and I realized if I don't take my own physical fitness back and, you know, all my studies and my spiritual side, everything, this kind of stuff can like escalate. Like, you know, you throw a tendon out, then you get out of shape, and, you know, your cardio can go off, and you can get that. You know. So that's my message for this short video, is that we're all going to fall, but you got to get back up. The lower you fall, the higher you can eventually go. And till now, it's been 3 weeks, and it's been little progresses, little progresses, getting out of bed, putting my brace on. I'm going to share this stuff with you guys, putting the brace on, just becoming independent again, showering by myself, those little stuff. So take life like that, my friends, and thank you for listening, and we'll be back. Till now, it's the fish. Take care.